Oh, Ohio, you are chock full of mysteries and we love you for it. Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. I'm your host Emily and today we're counting down our list of the top 10 unsolved Ohio urban legends too scary for Ed and Lorraine Warren. Coming in at number 10 is the Crosswick Monster. Established in 1821 by James Jennings, the monster wouldn't make itself officially known to the residents of Crosswick until May of 1882. While many large unknown tracks had occasionally been found throughout the area, most often crossing over a dirt road that ran through the community, nobody ever thought to find out what was making them, and honestly, I don't blame them. Then one summer day in the 1880s, two boys were fishing along Middle Run Creek when a scaly, hissy, lizard-like creature sprung from the hollow interior of a giant sycamore tree nearby. It reared up to 14 feet and thrust out two claw-like arms, seizing one boy and running off at a gallop as fast as a horse. Now, field hands began pursuing the creature as it dragged the boy into a tree. The field hands flushed the creature out and it then dropped the boy and slithered into a cave along the creek. Men rounded up more than 60 residents to destroy the beast. Armed with axes, clubs, and well-trained hunting dogs, the group used dynamite to seal the cave's entrance where the monster was. Now, investigators then reopened the cave, but no creature could be found. Now that sounds absolutely horrifying. Number 9, Crybaby Bridge. Locals say if you stand on the Alliance Area Bridge at night, the sounds of crying babies can be heard. Some say that mothers who did not want their sons or daughters during the baby boom would toss them from the bridge into the river below in the dark of the night. Others believe that the cries stem from members of a cult kidnapping locals and ending their lives as part of a secret ritual. And finally, some say the ghostly cries stem from a distraught mother who lost it after her daughter would not stop crying. In desperation, she tossed her over the bridge to her death. And upon realizing what she had done, the woman reportedly drove off the bridge, ending her own life as well. Now, this is all around sad and creepy. If I heard crying noises without anyone around, and on a bridge nonetheless, I would be terrified. It seems like there's been a lot of tragedy here, and I would not want to go near this place. Number 8. Patterson Tower. Massive and made of stone, the Patterson Tower most closely resembles the home of an evil witch more than anything you'd find in present-day Ohio. In fact, it even has the nickname Frankenstein's Castle. And I mean, just look at it. I think that's a very appropriate nickname. And while Frankenstein may not lurk here, a local legend holds that a teenage ghost named Peggy Harmson does. According to the story, Peggy and her friends snuck out to the park one rainy night when lightning struck the tower, ending her life instantly. Her spirit seems permanently linked to the rain, and they say every time it storms, her ghost appears. Visitors to the tower report hearing the screams of a young girl in bad rainstorms, and other reports seeing a ghostly face peering down at them from the tower's peak. Number 7, Loveland Frogmen. This is one of the stranger Ohio myths, but the sightings of the Loveland Frogmen go back to 1955. These frogmen reportedly stand about 4 feet tall and look like humanoid lizards. Now, the first alleged sighting happened in 1955. Then, in 1972, a Loveland police officer reported seeing something that matched the frogman's description. But in 2016, after sightings were reported on several Cincinnati TV stations, a second officer called one of the stations with an updated report of the 1972 sighting. Apparently, he had shot the creature 2 weeks after the sighting. Now, the creature, well, it was a large iguana with a missing tail. Now, regardless of the frogman's authenticity, Cincinnati residents are mostly happy to have their very own cryptid. Now, not to mention, new sightings seem to pop up every couple decades, the latest of which was in August 2016, when two teenagers playing Pokemon Go reported seeing a giant frog that stood up and walked on its hind legs. Yeah, I'm sure they didn't expect to see that. Number 6. Satan's Hollow. Blue Ash is known for many remarkable things, but one of the most famous things is the purported tunnel to the netherworld. Yep, there is a tunnel to hell there. The story goes that local satanic groups would meet at the drainage tunnel in Blue Ash to conduct rituals. In doing so, they opened up a portal to hell itself, which is So nice. The graffiti-tagged abyss has pentagrams and phrases like "Hell lies ahead" sprayed on the wall. Now, screams can be heard at night, and there have been many sightings of various apparitions, including floating skulls and a demon commonly known as the Shadow Man. He is some kind of hall monitor from hell, left here by Satan to guard these tunnels. The Shadow Man is said to appear in the form of a human, only completely blacked out, hence his name. While these tunnels are certainly creepy, they aren't very big, and aside from the area when you enter the tunnel system, you pretty much have to stay bent over to get through, and they get smaller as you go, and that is a no from me. Number 5. Hatchet Man Road. In the early 1800s, Andrew Hellman reportedly ended the life of his wife with a hatchet and spread all the pieces all over the road near his home. The legend goes if you're out late at night and you turn off your car, you'll see the pieces scattered on the road and a man with a hatchet standing in a nearby ditch. It's also said you can see the Hatchet Man's spirit and his kid's ghosts and his wife's ghosts in the wood. You could see dark shadows going across the road in front of you, and legend says that the ghost especially hates women and is ready to end the life of anyone passing through with his hatchet. Number 4. Peninsula Python. Founded in 1806, Boston Village, aka Helltown's original claim to fame was its standing as the oldest village in Summit County. Now, Boston's relatively uneventful life took a turn for the worse in 1974 when the National Park Service decided that Boston Township would be the new home for a new national park and began buying the properties of its longtime residents. Now, the empty homes were boarded up and adorned with U.S. no trespassing signs. It was soon discovered that the dump there was highly polluted with toxic chemicals improperly disposed of. Now, also in the village, there is a church which is said to have been built by Satanists, complete with upside-down crosses, and there's an abandoned bus and is said to host lingering ghosts. And maybe the most outlandish of all, there's talk of mutants who were created by the chemical spill, including a monstrous snake known as the Peninsula Python. Now, Clarence Mitchell saw an 18-foot snake crawling across his cornfield on June 8th, 1944. Now, after several days of effort, a posse that had been formed on June 25th failed to find any evidence other than broken branches and trails leading to the river. Reports of a large snake were made through August 1st by other residents of the valley, including Pauline Hopko, who said it slithered away from a willow tree and frightened her cows so much that they broke loose and ran away. Yeah, I'd want to stay away from that snake for sure. Number 3. Lock 4 Park. An incident occurred here in 1857 which has resulted in the park becoming haunted. A canal worker, whom some say was a lock tender, may have been angry about the potential of work being shut down and wanted revenge. The angry worker doused his fellow workers with a container of acid or some type of caustic liquid. It is said that the enraged worker tossed the lid open and flung the contents on his fellow workers, dumping the remnants on himself. Legend says that no immediate deaths ensued, but rather the men suffered gruesome, slower deaths that took several days. A few men perished due to their acid-eaten skin and organs, and the man responsible also died. Today, the screams and moans of those who were burned by the acid supposedly can still be heard by some if you listen closely while visiting Lock 4. Also, the lock tender's cabin, which is located in the park, may also be haunted by the spirit of an angry worker. Number 2. The Hookman. The backstory to this legend varies a bit depending on who tells it, but here's the basic plot. A doctor and his wife lived on Pond Run Road with their son. Now, the son, it turns out, was either mentally disturbed or handicapped. Now, due to the boy's mental state, his parents kept him locked inside the house, at times even shackling him or tying something to one of his arms in the basement. Unfortunately, sometime in the 50s or 60s, the house was struck by lightning during a storm and caught fire, burning it down. The doctor and his wife were found, burned to death, but all that was left of the boy was one severed hand. Now, it's said from that point on, he lived in the woods along Pond Run Road, stealing from other homes in the area. He then started attacking these couples, and a young couple was found stabbed to death there by something pointy like a metal hook. From this point on, the deaths became your traditional Hookman legends. And of course, the most popular story is a couple again parked on Pond Run, only this time when they hear an odd noise, they leave. Upon reaching her home, the man gets out and comes around to open the door, where he finds a bloody hook hanging from the handle. Spooky. And coming at Number 1 is the Waxman. The Waxman is an old man who lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. He leaves his house every night at exactly 11:30 p.m. and drives his crappy car to the same junkyard every night. Now, he is called the Waxman because his face appears to be wax, even though not many people have seen his face for more than a couple of seconds. It's said that people wait on his street, and when he drives by them, they begin to follow him. It's been said that the Waxman times the traffic lights on his route in order to lose the people following him. He knows when people are following him, so he will periodically speed up and slow down to throw the followers off. Only one car full of high school boys has followed him all the way to the junkyard, and to this day, they do not talk about what happened there. And I mean, hey, I just think we shouldn't be following people in their cars, especially if it's some crazy guy called the Waxman. I mean, at that point, you're just asking for trouble. Well, that's all for our list of the top 10 unsolved Ohio urban legends too scary for Ed and Lorraine Warren. Have you heard about any of these legends before? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe while you're down there. I'm your host, Emily, and we'll see you next time.